Hello and welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Craig Burley, Stevie Nicol and Ali Moreno. We start, of course, at the Camp Nou, where it finished Barcelona 3, Liverpool 0. Barca with a 1-0 lead going in at half-time, thanks to the goal from Luis Suarez. The second half, Lionel Messi scoring from close range, and then Barca's third goal coming from a stunning free kick for Messi, putting Barcelona very much in pole position when it comes to qualifying for the final. It's interesting, Craig, you look at that 3-0, you think, well, Barca must have dominated the game, but was it as simple as Barca took their chances?
Yeah, I mean, I think that obviously they were more clinical. It was the big concern for Liverpool. I thought they played some good stuff. I've seen them playing a lot worse this season and struggle or get a result. You know, they went in there, the game started like a house on fire, it toed and froed, there was lots of space, unlike yesterday's game. But ultimately, we talked about this all week, for 2 weeks. What's the difference between these sides?
Yeah.
And it boils down to kind of one thing, and it's Messi. So Liverpool wasn't a bad performance, but it was a bad result.
That's a good way of summing it up, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, nobody can have a problem with the way Liverpool played in this game. Yes, before the game, we saw that Firmino wasn't starting and Gomez was also in for Alexander-Arnold, and we kind of wondered what he was doing. But for 75 minutes, Liverpool more than matched Barcelona on their home field. And you can't ask for more than that. After that, then we're just talking about one guy that they'd said, and that's Messi. You know, he gets the rebound off the crossbar, but he completely panics, pulls it down with his chest, and then tickles it over the line.
You were saying that anyone else would head of that?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, I think most other players would try and adjust themselves and head it, not this guy. He knows exactly what's going on around him. He knows exactly how long he's got, what time he's got. He knows exactly what he's going to do, and he does it as if it's just like pouring himself a glass of water. And then the free kick. The free kick. He's hit this thing from 30 yards. It's outside the wall. There's nothing wrong with where the wall's positioned, and he's brought it back in and given Alisson Becker, one of the best keepers in the world, not a chance of getting anywhere close to it.
It's incredible. When you let that's 600 goals now for Barcelona, for Messi, and we did talk about it. And that's why we talked about it so much as being the difference. And today, he was.
He was, and we are not surprised because we sit here and see the standard that he has set for himself is so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous that we sit here and we're not surprised that Lionel Messi did what he did and how well he played in spurts and how well, whenever he touched the ball, everybody else is now paying attention. The goal by Luis Suarez, and it's a tremendous ball by Jordi Alba, and it's a great finish by Luis Suarez. The reason it happens, part of it, is because a lot of people are paying attention to Lionel Messi, who's sitting on top of the 18-yard box. Like, clearly, this ball has got to come across to Lionel Messi. Everybody pays attention to him. Great ball by Jordi Alba, good finish by Luis Suarez. He affects the game in so many different ways that you just cannot understate, or overstate, I should say, the importance of Lionel Messi in a game like this. When you have two evenly teamed, you have a talented groups, when you have danger on both sides, when you have teams that can allow themselves to really maximize their potential, the one winner, above all of them, the difference maker, the guy that puts everybody in a different category altogether is Lionel Messi. Salah is a tremendous player, but he's not Lionel Messi. So when there was a moment for Mohamed Salah to become and to finish with his right foot, he puts it off the post. Some people will say unfortunate, unlucky. I'm saying if you're Mohamed Salah, you have to put that ball in because that changes the dynamic of this whole series. Lionel Messi on the other side, calm, cool, collected. He finishes his chances. Thank you very much. See you guys later.
2-0 or 3-1 was, I think, gettable, potentially. Thinking about the free kick.
Yep.
It's just top drawer. So that probably killed the game. You just talk about the chances missed. Mane the first half. You know, Salah with the right foot. There were others.
Milner had that chance as well.
There were others. I mean, Barcelona had chances because Liverpool were so gung-ho at the end and with set pieces and that, trying to get their away goal. But I do think there should be, well, they don't have to be, but I do think special mention to Luis Suarez here because he, from a neutral point of view, he was a pain in the backside again all night. Now, we watched in the commentary, Stevie said, you want him in your team. And Liverpool did have him in his team for a few years, and he was a brilliant player for Liverpool. But he stood in offside position half the time. So the centre-halves are back round checking where he is. That's taking an eye off Messi dropping in the hole. So he's always giving you a problem. And then more importantly, when he scored, by the way, he was trying to rub all the Liverpool players up the wrong way, so he's getting in the head, and then he scores, and he celebrates. There's none of this nonsense. I was at Liverpool, it was a great club, and I loved it there, and I don't want the fans to be upset with me, so I'm not. It's a Champions League semi-final, and I just think he epitomised, because he's not had the greatest of seasons by his standards, but he epitomised and there was a bit of needle in the game,
sure,
but he epitomised the attitude of wanting to get to that major final again.
I don't think we should understate how well Liverpool played. Listen, after an hour, they took off a forward in Coutinho and put on a defender in Semedo. That's how dominant Liverpool were for the first 15 minutes, particularly of the second half of this game. So, as great as we know Messi is, and as fantastic as Suarez's goal was, Liverpool were... Barcelona could not get out their half of the first 15 minutes of this game, the second half of this game.
But the problem is they lost 3-0.
And because you started this show by saying, was it because they took the chances? You really could sum that up. Absolutely. Yes, Salah should have scored. Salah had another one saved from Ter Stegen. Mane should have scored. Milner had a couple of chances where he could have done better. So, absolutely, this was not about who were the best team. This was about a team that didn't take the chances, and the other team had a guy called Messi.
By the way, just as a side note, I don't know how a team loses 3-0 and your left back gets a 9 on the player rating.
Oh, no, Stevie, you said he was excellent as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
absolutely. Played some great balls forward. He made 2.
A 9?
He made 2.
You lost 3-0.
He made 2 tackles. He made 2 tackles that were goal-saving tackles, and every other thing came down the other side.
So
every other thing came down the other side.
A 9.
Absolutely.
Losing 3-0.
Absolutely.
Semi-final Champions League.
Yep.
Okay.
Didn't
Excellent.
Never put a foot wrong all night and saved 2 goals. I don't know what else you want from him.
Well, not allowed 3 goals.
By the way, he put a couple of fantastic balls in the box as well.
Right. I'm not going to get caught up in whether Robertson has a 9 or not, but I can tell you that for anybody, you can't get a 9 when you lose 3-0. I'm just saying.
So if the goalkeeper makes 20 saves and you lose 3-0, you're going to give him a 5.
He doesn't get a 9. But whatever. It's neither here nor there. I will suggest that Ernesto Valverde deserves credit here, because the change that you're talking about in recognizing, when you see Semedo warming up, it's like, well, maybe he's going to bring him for the pace because they were struggling down that side and Sergio Roberto was struggling. Instead, he takes off Coutinho and he says, you know what? We're going to have to match numbers in the midfield, and we're going to have to be able to get some numbers in behind the ball so we can defend. So I get the pace of Semedo, push Sergio Roberto into the midfield, Coutinho, Vidal to the left-hand side, and it forces Liverpool into more crowded areas, and it makes Liverpool a whole lot more predictable because it slows Liverpool down. Slowing Liverpool down, then they cannot take advantage of their athleticism and their ability to try to isolate Barcelona in 1v1 situations. After that change happened and Barcelona settled down, they became a different team in the second half. The game was more even, and that's when Barcelona and Lionel Messi took over. That's where they distanced themselves.
It's interesting watching Coutinho play, considering the Coutinho that was at Liverpool and was such a shining star, and Barcelona paid so much money. Alongside Suarez and Messi, he looks so average, doesn't he? So average.
Yeah, but he's not.
But he has been this season for Barcelona. It's going to be a big conundrum for Valverde going forward.
Oh, I agree, but he's not average, but he's playing average.
Yeah.
That's the difference. He is not an average player, he's clearly, but he's playing... I think he's just finding it difficult. One, with the pressure of playing for Barcelona, and 2, with the pressure of... And you saw Messi when Vidal made that mistake, or the poor decision when he was through. Messi was berating him, you know, basically saying, hey, that's just, you know... And I wonder if, you know, there's been a little bit of that as well. A bit like, you know, when Ronaldo and Bale and stuff like that, you know. So I wonder if he's just under the weight of, you know, I have to be somewhere close to what he's doing because they've paid this money for me. And I think it's a bit much for the lad at the moment.
How do you fix that, though? Because they've tried so many different ways to get Coutinho into the Coutinho that we know.
I tell you what happened that was very clear to me. When Dembele got off the bench and went to warm up, the whole stadium was going crazy. Right. And it has to do with the fact that they prefer Dembele out there on the field than Coutinho. Now, on the subject of Dembele...
that late.
Well, he could have killed this off 100% see you guys later, it's all over. And even though it's 3-0, it will be nearly impossible for Liverpool to come back. He had 2 chances in the end. In particular, the last one. Make it 4-0, we're not even having a conversation. But Dembele is a guy that gives this team the athleticism that perhaps they don't have with some of the other guys. Luis Suarez running around, although he's a pain in the backside, he's a great striker, and his movement of the ball is fantastic, he doesn't quite have the pace to stretch back lines. Dembele does have that pace, and he can get in behind. And then if he gets in behind, then lines drop back, and then that allows Lionel Messi a whole lot more space. Coutinho doesn't give you that, and he's not giving you much more than that either.
As a player, when you join a club like Barcelona that has superstars in it, people talk about, well, you take time to settle in. Well, what that means is it takes time for you to feel as though you belong. That's, I think, the problem Coutinho's having. It's not that he doesn't have ability. I think he still looks at Messi and Suarez and other players like a wee puppy dog.
Right.
You know, you have to go wherever you go and feel as though you may not be as great as somebody standing next to you, but you're as important to the team. And I don't think Coutinho has settled in that way yet. I still think he feels as though he's still got to prove something rather than just do what you were brought to the club to do.
But the problem is that it's been too long now. We're not 6 months in anymore.
Yeah.
And there's been plenty of time for him to, okay, take that position or taking the approach. What I think with some of these guys, and it happened to Alexis Sanchez as well, is that you got Lionel Messi, and so you feel like you have to play the ball to Lionel Messi. Whereas if you just take the position, you know what, I'm just going to hang out here on the left. Because this is what happened. Lionel Messi is going to create his own space, and he's going to attract a whole lot of attention. And when he attracts a lot of attention, I'm going to be wide open.
Yep.
Instead, he feels like, I got to get involved. I got to get involved. I think less is more, or should be more for Coutinho. And he's neither here nor there. He's got in between and thinking out way too much and not really showing what he's capable of.
Sure, Neymar's really pleased that you left. You enjoyed watching that.
Yeah, well.
Who enjoyed watching that more, Neymar or Ronaldo? From Liverpool's point of view, of course, the big talking point from the starting 11, no Firmino. Like, does that make did that make any difference today?
Yeah, I think so. Well, a fit for Firmino, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Well, because he's, that's your front 3.
Yeah.
And I've talked about him dropping back and helping the midfield and winning the ball. So it did, but clearly they didn't feel between them that he was fit enough, and I think Klopp said that he didn't think he could go 90 minutes, which is a real shame. So not from a defensive point, well, not so much from the goals point of view, but I think maybe in the final third they might have made a little bit of a difference. The game panned out. I mean, we didn't see the Messi free kick coming, but the game kind of panned out how we kind of thought in terms of there was an away goal there for Liverpool. Absolutely was. They just weren't clinical enough. And that ultimately is what's going to cost them in the end.
How naive or how ambitious were they at the end? Because Ali mentioned, obviously, a couple of times they were caught at the back. Should they have just...
I'll be honest, I was really, really shocked at how they just... Listen, you've still got another game to go. And amazing things do happen. You know, Barcelona proved it against PSG a couple of seasons ago. But I'm watching Klopp telling everybody to get forward. And I'm thinking, you know what? Yes, it's 3-0. And yes, a goal would have been huge. But you're not just going to throw the whole tie away on a corner. So that surprised me. And realistically, it could have been 5. 2 of those corners, Barcelona broke with 3 against 1 pretty much. So I was shocked at the naivety of that. That was the only thing I was shocked at.
The second leg, of course, at Anfield next week. Coming up, we'll be discussing that. Just a reminder that if you ever miss a show, you can download our daily podcast, which is available on the website, or you can subscribe via iTunes. It won't surprise you to learn Barca big favourites to advance 25-1 on Liverpool. Meanwhile, 12-1 to turn around that 3-0 deficit. 12-1, Stephen, is that about right?
I tell you what, do you know how much I'm going to put on that?
I'm guessing a 0.
Absolutely nothing. It could be 1,000,000 to 1, because that's pretty much the chances that they've got.
What's the big
Why
issue?
are you looking at me?
No.
Well, the big issue is, I don't think anybody could really put their hand on their heart and say, well, there's no way Barcelona's going to score at Anfield.
Right.
And that's what kills it.
Because then they need 5, obviously.
I mean, come on. Now, I do remember a game Barcelona were involved in with PSG, where we said they had no chance.
Yes, that's true.
And actually, it worked out well for Barcelona. But
So you're saying the same could happen at Anfield?
I'm not putting any money on it, as I just...
What was the score against Roma last year?
3. 3.
Why are you putting this? I didn't know we had to study for this.
Got another boring start for you, by the way.
All right,
another
throw that
bonus
one around.
Only Raul has scored against more Champions League teams than Messi.
Right, good.
Well, you're right.
What's that got to do with him scoring?
Correct. You outdid yourself.
What's that got to do with him scoring at Anfield?
No, but listen, I said in yesterday's show I'm going to get another underwhelming stat in, and I
I'll tell
did.
you talked yourself there.
And I did, because you weren't here yesterday.
Definitely
to hear the
undid you.
stat. You weren't here, you were gardening.
Thanks very much.
You might as well be gardening when Liverpool
you're
play
not
the second leg.
Preview for that second leg, Craig?
Early goal.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I can't see them keeping a clean sheet, and that is the big issue. That's why the away goal was so important in the Camp Nou, but obviously didn't get it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Liverpool winning the game, but I just can't see them going through.
Our preview for this second leg is going to be fantastic over the next few days.
What I would
So it's
fear.
next week, is it?
Yeah,
Okay,
next
I've
Tuesday.
got holidays to take.
Next Tuesday.
What I would fear from Liverpool's perspective is that the game at Anfield, from the beginning, is going to look a lot like the end of this game looked. With people just going forward,
Right,
because you need to get after, and the energy of the stadium, and it's electric, and you just want to get forward and score that early goal, and then you leave yourself exposed in the back, and then it's game over. See you guys later. So if it is like that, if it is that sort of game, then Barcelona's going to get chances. Messi 3v1 situation. I think more times than not, regardless of whether it's Dembele or Coutinho, somebody's going to put it away. And if it's not one of them, it'll be Messi himself.
Look, they capitulated in Rome last year, so that's how I'm selling it.
Yeah.
I'm selling it to my players as this could be one of the, and there's been many, one of the great Anfield nights under the lights midweek against one of the best teams. That's how I'm selling it to the players, and that's what they have to believe. All the usual talk, what a manager says, do the basics at the back, early goal, get the crowd behind us, all the sort of cliches. That's how you're going to try and sell this to your team. And then on the night, see what happens.
Obviously,
The small difference is that you can also look at it from the perspective of Barcelona and say, we got to learn from what happened
don't make those mistakes.
in Rome. We know what happened there and why we were flat and why we didn't play the way that we should have. And you have most of the players that were on the field that night will be on the field against Liverpool. I'm assuming that doesn't happen to Barcelona 2 years in a row.
I almost feel like I need to come in tomorrow on Europa League night just to give another underwhelming start.
Well, you could do that.
Oh, I could send it in.
Yeah, no, you could do. Tweet it in. Away from the Champions League just for a moment, Klopp was asked about the second leg. He said, well, before that, we've got a massive game against Newcastle.
Yeah.
Does this game, this result, have any sort of say in what happens at St James's Park at the weekend?
I just think I think it will make them even more determined if that was possible.
Right.
To win at Newcastle. I don't see this affecting them in a negative way going into this game at the weekend, primarily because I don't think Klopp will let that happen. You know, it'd be easy to feel sorry for yourself. Klopp's not that kind of guy. He's like, you know what, this game's done. We've still got the Premier League to go for. So I would be absolutely shocked if Liverpool don't do anything against Newcastle other than go on the front foot the way they tried to do tonight. Except this is Newcastle, it's not Barcelona.
A lot of questions about Lionel Messi coming in on Extra Time. Just a reminder, you can check it out on our YouTube channel where the boys take great pleasure in answering your questions.
What?
As well as the Champions League, we're of course at the semi-final stages of the Europa League as well. You've got Arsenal against Valencia, the first leg at home for Arsenal. Meanwhile, Chelsea taking on Frankfurt. They're in Germany for that first leg. The big news ahead of the Arsenal-Valencia game is that Aaron Ramsey's out for the rest of the season. How big a factor is that for Arsenal, who've been rubbish of late, of course, domestically as well?
Stevie? You were
Yeah, you were. You made a noise.
Yeah, I made a noise.
Yeah, I was just thinking while you were talking, that was all. And
Don't hurt yourself.
well,
We're on a bit of a clock here, but I don't want to worry you.
It's very difficult to try and figure Arsenal out and figure out where they are mentally and emotionally because some of the performances recently have been so bad. You're like, how is this possible?
Yeah.
But then at home, particularly in the Europa League, they've been nothing short of sensational. So half of me's expecting what they normally do,
Right.
but the other half of me knows that they
Well, what
can
half what?
capitulate, and Valencia can take advantage.
Look,
So
How are you mentally and emotionally?
That's
I'm
what the
pretty
top was
stable
on.
myself, to be honest with you. So I can't work them out. I
So
really
the
can't
answer
work
is,
them out.
of course, if anybody who's a guaranteed starter is out of the team, it's a blow,
Sure.
which he has been recently. The guy who's gone to Juventus, so he's got something. But, you know, Arsenal have been in this horror run. Valencia were in a good run, but then they've lost the last couple of games.
Yeah,
But at the moment, I would say Valencia are probably favourites to go through. Arsenal just look so fragile in this competition, particularly away from home, where they've been rotten. But no, I think Valencia, for me, over the two legs at the moment, the way Arsenal are playing.
Top 4 slipping away for Arsenal.
Yeah.
This is your way into Champions League. If there was any motivation that you needed, well, this is it. It feels like you're barely hanging on one end in the Premier League. This is it. If you don't play well at home, then goodbye.
Eintracht Frankfurt, meanwhile, of course, getting here after all the drama in the quarter-finals. Chelsea favourites. Chelsea should get it done, shouldn't they, over the two legs, you'd imagine?
They've had quite a good run in this competition, really, and obviously Frankfurt are a good side. They deserve to be there, but I'm talking about the earlier rounds where they've had some softer teams to come past. So this will be a bigger test for them, clearly, and I think over the two... Well, listen, Maurizio Sarri needs to come through this.
Yes. Yeah.
He needs to come through it. He's under pressure.
I have no problem with Chelsea in this game. I'm not... I really...
No 50-50?
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all. For me, Chelsea win this comfortably over the two.
Chelsea are the favourites over Frankfurt, and Chelsea are the favourites left in the competition.
Of course, a lot more talk about both of these games on the next edition of the show. Paul Mariner will be in the studio to give his take on it all. Hey? A dramatic day for Iker Casillas, who suffered a heart attack while training with Porto this morning. However, he tweeted this picture out this afternoon saying that he was good, he had a little scare, but he's got all his strength, and many thanks to all of the messages and affection. Meanwhile, in the Championship today, it was a 1-1 draw between Derby and Swansea. Derby with the chance really to solidify their place in the playoffs. They kind of missed that opportunity. They are taking on West Brom on the final day of the season, who still have hopes of catching Leeds to move up to third in the table. Middlesbrough, meanwhile, can still qualify for the playoffs. They are taking on Rotherham on that final day this weekend. Very much all to play for in that. And then, of course, you've got the playoff scenario, and as it stands, it would be Leeds against Derby, which would reignite Spygate, which, of course, would be Bielsa Lampard.
It will be if Leeds get the point they need in their last game.
Yep.
Otherwise, they'll be playing Aston Villa, who are on a bit of a roll. But yeah, the Spygate thing could happen.
And then it could be Leeds Villa in the final, which, of course, we saw the Bielsa and everything.
Well, you've got it all worked out.
Well, I'm just saying.
Oh, it's exciting!
Whoa!
Promotion, huh?
Welcome to Extra Time. There was a major theme to the questions that were sent in today. Many of them addressed to Shaka Hislop, of course.
Why is that?
Lionel Messi. Do we still need to discuss who's the best player on this planet?
No. Next question.
No. No.
No.
No.
We've had the discussion.
Yep,
It doesn't
many
last long.
times. No. No. Does Stevie care if Suarez or Coutinho celebrate at Anfield if they score?
No, listen. I would be more upset if they didn't celebrate.
Right.
You're playing for your team. You're playing for the supporters that have travelled to see you. So you know you're one of them now, and so you should celebrate. Absolutely.
When you played for Sheffield Wednesday, did you ever play at Anfield?
I did, yes.
Would you have celebrated? 'Cause
Yes, I would have. Absolutely,
Yeah.
I would have. I actually had a chance in the game,
Right.
but I was a little older then, a little longer in tooth. The legs weren't quite as strong.
Right.
And by the time I got to the edge of the box, I'd run out of steam. And I had a shot, and David James ran off, made himself a cup of tea, had it,
Right.
a chocolate biscuit, ran back onto the field and threw his hat on it.
Yeah.
But I absolutely would have celebrated. Yes.
It's not worth asking you two. You celebrated? You would celebrate?
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I didn't score that many goals.
No.
So
Yeah.
it didn't matter who I scored against.
You were celebrating.
Desperation has set in.
Do you think? I mean, I would have, but
Yeah,
I did go back to the club. Was that many times? I don't think. But think about it. He was at Liverpool for a long time, right? In a very successful era.
Yeah.
Do you think if he celebrated a goal for Sheffield Wednesday that the Liverpool fans are going to talk about that?
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, and all of a sudden, what Stevie did at Liverpool is he's got an asterisk beside it because he scored there for Sheffield Wednesday in the league. It's absolutely not.
But Michael Owen kind of sullied his relationship, didn't he, with Liverpool fans when he went to United, obviously, and scored as well against.
That's different.
Yeah.
Listen, the fact that he went to United, never mind scoring a goal, that is a completely different animal.
Right, because
than what
it's
we're
United.
talking about. Yeah, it's because it's
Yeah.
United.
Sheffield Wednesday, not quite the same. Well, it's an owl. It is a different owl.
Yeah, exactly. It's a different bird.
So when you say Saladin's relationship with fans, I don't know, everybody's different. I would imagine most players would be like, so what?
No.
What, wait, unless you want to be a club ambassador, which,
Yeah.
by the way, half of them are,
Yeah.
and half of them are pundits. You can't tell them. They can't tell they're club ambassadors when they're fudging the issue. But so unless you want to be that, what's the issue?
No, that's true.
You know what I mean? It's the end of the day. You play, you have a rapport, or you don't, or they like you or they don't, and then you move on.
I don't think Luis Figo cared too much, did he? He was getting pig's head thrown at him.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
just-
do you think he's totally concerned right now about what the outlook of other fans are on his career? Come on.
By the way, he had a great bar in Villamora.
Really? What was it called?
What do you think it was called? I didn't care what it was called. Down in the, where was it? Down in the marina there.
Oh, yeah.
Ever
The
been?
pig's head, wasn't it?
Eagles. Used to go there a lot when I was golfing.
Did Liverpool slip up by going all out for an equaliser?
No, absolutely not. No, what do you... Listen, Liverpool in the first half were just as good as Barcelona, but they found themselves 1-0 down. And so, why would you change anything? Why would you change the way you're playing if it's making you successful on the day?
Yep.
And for the first 15 minutes of the second half, Barcelona couldn't get out their own half, to the point that they took Coutinho off, although he was not very good anyway. But they didn't bring a forward on. They could have brought Dembele on.
Yeah.
No, they brought a defender on. So they were worried.
Final one. It's another one for you, Stevie. What should Liverpool do now? Rest the players over the weekend or go all out against Newcastle?
What a dramatic pause that was.
Yeah.
Rest the players over the weekend.
Yeah, I wonder what was coming there.
What should they do now?
There you go.
Pause.
Oh, mind you.
You sold it well.
100% you go for Newcastle and Wolves. Because regardless, they come from 3-0 down. It's nigh on it. It's not impossible, but it's not a kick in the backside of it.
And then we'll be getting ready for is Liverpool's season a success if they don't win anything?
Well,
that'll
hey,
come up.
regardless, I'll just tell you now.
Yeah?
Yes, they're going forward.
You did notice
you
that question
hold on,
came
if
in
you-
from
if you
a
take the
Manchester
team
City
By the way,
fan,
this,
right?
this question doesn't make sense, because what should Liverpool do now is rest the players over the weekend in the league, because slim to none chance of reaching the UEFA Champions League.
I think it maybe is two different questions.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, why would you rest players when you're playing on Saturday and Man City are not playing till Monday?
Right.
So you put some pressure back on. So what you just going to give it up? Oh, 2 games to go. Nah, can't see them drop. Nah, to be fair, they're unlikely. They're no. Nah, Leicester are decent. Nah, it's over.
The Manchester City fan who asked
Yeah,
question. There you go.
That's it.
I know.
We're done. That is it.
Oh, hey.
ESPN FC returns to your screens tomorrow. The boys breaking down the 2 Europa League matches.
And
I'll be
who's
here.
on?
Are you guys on?
I'm off tomorrow.
Oh, fantastic. I'll be here.
No, can I come in anyway? Yeah, right.